Oh, shit. Oh, shit, I'm sorry.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to record now.
And welcome back to Top Cheddar Sports. I'm Brett.
I'm Spencer.
And it's Monday. So we're going to be talking a little baseball.
Heck yeah. All right. Let's start with an All-Star Game update. The finalists for each position were decided in the preliminary vote, and now fans have the opportunity to vote on who gets to start. In the AL, each grouping looks like this. At catcher, it's Robinson Chirinos, James McCann, and Gary Sanchez. First base, CJ Cron, Carlos Santana, and Luke Voit. Second base, Jose Altuve, Tommy La Stella, and DJ LeMahieu. Shortstop, Carlos Correa, Jorge Polanco, Gleyber Torres. Third base, Alex Bregman, Hunter Dozier, and Gio Urshela. And then the outfield is Mookie Betts, Michael Brantley, Joey Gallo, Aaron Judge, Austin Meadows, Josh Reddick, Eddie Rosario, George Springer, and Mike Trout. Whew. All right, lastly, designated hitter, it is JD Martinez, Nelson Cruz, and Hunter Pence. While most, if not all of these players are deserving of an All-Star Game start, the Yankees have a finalist at each position except designated hitter, showing the power that the popular vote still has. And the Astros have 7 finalists thanks to all 3 of their outfielders moving on to the final round.
Jeez.
Pretty crazy, yeah. So popular vote still reigns true.
In the National League, the catchers are Wilson Contreras, Yasmani Grandal, and Brian McCann. First base is Josh Bell, Freddie Freeman, and Anthony Rizzo. Second base is Ozzie Albies, Ketel Marte, Mike Moustakas. Shortstop, Spencer's MacBook Pro, Javier Baez, Trevor Story, Dansby Swanson. Third base is Nolan Arenado, Chris Bryant, and Josh Donaldson. And the outfielders are Ronald Acuna Jr., Albert Amora Jr., Cody Bellinger, Charlie Blackmon,
Jr.
Jason Hayward,
Junior.
Nick Markakis Jr., Jock Peterson,
Junior.
Kyle Schwarber,
Jr.
and reigning MVP Christian Yelich Jr. The Cubs and Braves were the beneficiaries of the popular vote in the National League, tying the Astros with, again, 7 finalists each.
It's crazy. So on to the action from the week. Albert Pujols returned to St. Louis for the first time since signing a 10-year contract with the Angels. While he hasn't been the same player since leaving St. Louis. Fans were sure to give him a standing ovation, especially after he hit his 12th home run of the year. I personally was happy to see him back and happy to see him hit another home run in Busch Stadium.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Awesome player. The Yankees set a franchise record, homering in their 26th straight game. This comes with perfect timing as both Judge and Stanton are returning from the IL for the AL East leading Yankees. Speaking of the AL East, an interesting story came out about the Rays.
Interesting
this past week.
indeed. Yeah, the Rays have discussed potentially splitting their home games between Tampa and, drumroll please, this makes sense vicinity-wise, Montreal. Yes. Wow, this is a somewhat surprising thought. It's mind-boggling, really. It actually could make sense. Tampa would play the early and potentially late season home series in Tampa and play the middle of the season up in Montreal. While I think an expansion would be the best move for baseball and to put a team back in Montreal, there is no doubt that Montreal has been clamoring for baseball to be back. The move may also help validate a move in the end for the Rays, seeing as they field a competitive team but struggle to sell seats. What do you think of this, though?
I think it's incredibly stupid. I can understand kind of testing the baseball waters up in Montreal again. I feel like this almost is a move by their ownership to kind of see what kind of reaction they'll get in Montreal if they want to move there permanently.
I think it's also to see what kind of reaction they get from Tampa Bay.
Right. I don't think anybody in Tampa's
Gonna care.
Not really. I did see they're still stuck in Tropicana Field till 2023, I believe.
Yep.
So it's not like they can, they can leave, but they're going to still have to pay.
The move wouldn't happen most likely until 2024.
Right.
So
I don't know. It seems kind of dumb to me. I think Montreal love it. I think people will go there. But yeah, they're going to be the Tampa Bay Rays still, but they're going to be playing in Montreal.
Yeah, that is
geographically in the AL East, it makes sense to move to Montreal. You're kind of closer to all your divisional mates.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't like that. I think it's stupid.
Yeah, it's definitely a move that we'll have to keep an eye on as to whether or not this gets any more fuel behind it. But
Right.
I still think it's more likely that we see an expansion happen to put a team back in Montreal. But we'll see.
A little history happened this past week. Justin Verlander moved to 19th all-time in strikeouts. Now 16 away from passing Jim Bunning, but over 200 behind CC Sabathia. Mets rookie Pete Alonso now holds the franchise record for most home runs by a Met rookie already.
It's insane.
He passed Darryl Strawberry when he went deep for the 27th time already this year. My God.
Not even halfway through a season. Well, I guess we're just halfway through a
And
season.
not a finalist for an All-Star.
Weird.
Very weird. Phillies manager Gabe Kapler celebrated his very first ejection since becoming their manager.
Did you see his veins?
I did not.
Oh my God.
But I will
his
say,
neck was like-
he's a very laid-back, kind of quiet, analytical guy, so I'm not surprised it took this long for him to actually get fired up about
He
something.
can get pretty fired up.
So.
He reminds me like he's a bit of an extreme personality sometimes.
But good for him.
But yeah, A's ace Frankie Montes
On my fantasy team.
was handed an 80-game suspension on Friday after testing positive for performance enhancement drugs. Before the suspension, Montes was 9-2 with a 2.70 ERA and 97 strikeouts in just 90 innings pitched. He was having one hell of a year. I think you and I were talking about he probably would have been a Cy Young finalist with how he was pitching.
Definitely. Dallas Keuchel made his first MLB start as a Brave this week. He gave up 4 runs, just 3 earned, in 5 innings. While he managed just 3 strikeouts, he was able to not walk any batters. What hurt him most was the 8 hits that he did give up. So, shaking off the rust a little bit. He'll be fine.
Yeah, not a terrible first start. Max Scherzer had a scary injury this past week when a ball he was bunting, put air quotes around that, during batting practice ricocheted off the bat into his face, breaking his nose. But because Max Scherzer is a psychopath, he pitched the next game with a broken nose and an awful bruise under his left eye.
Terrifying.
Actually, I guess it was his right eye.
Yeah.
It was our left, yeah. The righty went 7 scoreless and struck out 10 in classic Max Scherzer fashion.
I'm trying to imagine the batters staring back
I
at the
don't know
mound.
if I would laugh
Max
or
Scherzer
if I would
with-
shit my pants.
Yeah, he looked terrified,
He did.
honestly.
He's already a fiery guy.
And I suppose the saying, good things come to those who wait, stands true, even for baseball players.
Oh, do tell.
This week, Marlins catcher Wilkin Castillo, yes, that Wilkin Castillo, who hadn't played since June 20th of 2009.
Interesting.
And took a long journey back to the majors, playing over 800 games in the minors. Well, it took 3,654 days, but Castillo roped what would be a game-winning double for his first hit in a decade.
Yeah,
For
incredible.
So, feel-good story there.
Yeah. Last bit of news for the week, Dodgers pitcher Walker Buehler pitched a complete game, striking out 16 and walking 0. That puts him on the top of a list for the Dodgers, having the most strikeouts in a game without recording a walk. That's more than any other Dodger in history.
They've had some good pitchers.
Sandy Koufax, and there was that guy recently, Clayton Kershaw.
No, not him.
You haven't heard of him?
Ryu.
Yes.
Yes.
He has been good.
On to our stat leaders. Still Bellinger, 353. Yelich, 29 home runs. And Bell at 66 RBIs. Yeah.
And pitching looks pretty much the same as well. It's Ryu leading ERA with a 1.27, Cole leading strikeouts with 148, and the only change really is that Verlander has joined Giolito and Odorizzi with 10 wins each. Yates is still the saves leader. However, Brett Buckos handed him his first blown save
Yeah, they did.
with a 3-run ninth.
And it was awesome. And they won that game. No, they didn't.
He still has 26 saves on the year, though, and leads all of the majors.
Yes, very, very good year for Kirby Yates. We talked about how the Padres just always seem to find good closures.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. Something fishy there, honestly. Pun intended, San Diego. The Yankees still lead the Rays in the AL East by 5 games. The Twins lead the Indians in the Central by 8.5. And the Astros lead over the Rangers is at 7 games currently.
In the NL, Atlanta has taken a pretty commanding lead in the East, now up to 6.5 games ahead of the Phillies. Cubs and Brewers remain tied atop the NL Central with the Cardinals, now just 1 game back. And in the West, the Dodgers hold the best record in baseball and hold a whopping 12-game lead over the Rockies.
Insanity.
That is, yeah. We should seriously just give them the NL title. They're going to be in the World Series.
Yep, and they'll lose.
Yes, 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 yes. That'll do it.
Basketball tomorrow. It'll be us.
It'll be us.
Talking some NBA.
Probably
I don't know if we have as much to talk about.
Probably talk a little more about the draft.
Probably talk a little bit more about the draft.
I think we could probably talk about the draft.
A little bit. But other than that, there's not much else to talk about.
No, maybe a little speculation to dish out, but yeah. We'll see.
Well, we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah. Other than that, leave a like, leave a comment.
Smash that subscribe
He
button.
brought it back. And yeah, we will see you guys tomorrow evening.